Surfskate SLIDE part 2. So this is about the equipment, how equipments differ your slide. Okay, the first one with the wheel. The hardness 78 to 90A, normal surfskate hardness. The harder the wheel, the easier to slide because it's less draggy. But the hardest also not as stable. Yeah? Okay, a lot of surfskates start with a softer wheel because they want to have a grip on the ground, especially when you do bowl. You want to have the grip. But if you want to slide, you have that grip. You can understand, right? It grips on the floor. So how are you going to do slide? I mean, you still can. It's not as easy as the harder wheel. The second one will be the shape of the wheel. A round edge will be easier to slide, or you have slide your wheel enough time that even the sharp edge will become round anyway. Okay, why? As I explained on the last video about the wheel, when you slide, the round wheel will have a drag, okay, and then slowly it stops. The edge, the edge one, the sharp edge one will automatically slide through, and then sometimes about just fly. And the third one will be size of the wheel. The smaller the size, the easier to slide. Okay, why? As well, same, the less drag. The smaller wheel will have a smaller surface, so easier for you to slide the wheel, of course. Okay, and in a comparison, it will have less drag. It will have less contact points onto the ground, so stability could be a consideration. The second one will be the deck. Yeah, the lighter the deck, the easier to slide. Doesn't mean smaller. Yeah, no. Actually, the size of the deck is very important. The stance that makes the difference. For example, if it's too small and your stand is too small, smaller than your shoulder width, it's actually harder to slide because of the body restriction. But if it's too big, it's hard. But the lighter deck, let's say the same size deck, the lighter deck will certainly easier to slide. Okay, and also a slightly curvy deck will be easier to slide because you basically have an edge to push the board. Okay, on the floor, choose the floor. The surface is very important. If you look for a very sticky floor, it's harder to slide. Okay, it's not about rough or not, no, because sometimes rough, but you look at the let's say tar road. A tar road is easier to slide actually. Why? Because the surface is actually not a sharp, small stones. It's actually quite rounded on the edge. You can use your hand and touch. The worst is those floor that you really it's like a cement but rough, sharp, sharp edges on the floor surface. You can feel with your hand. Those are the most difficult ones. Okay, and then of course slopey. If a flat land is easier to slide because you only lift up a little bit the angle and then you slide. But on slope you got to really lift up a little bit more than the slope that already having an angle. And then of course the speed. The faster you can slide easier. The slower is harder to slide. It doesn't mean that you can't. Yeah, you can if you have the control of the contact point. Even with the slow speed, you still can slide, of course. But with a faster speed, it will be easier, but less stable. Okay. Then the last one will be the loosened truck. The looser is truck. Moving truck. And of course, it's easier to slide because you already have the angle of the slide. Okay. So basically, slide is on an unstable stage. If the more stable the deck is, actually the harder to slide. So get used to the unstable. Start with a slow speed, and then slowly you find out if you can slide, you can handle a greater speed when you go on cruising or anything. Okay, so enjoy your slide.